There we go. We're going to start early tonight. Why not? Everybody else seems to not be off of the internet yet, so we shouldn't be off the internet. Welcome to the Tim Runs His Mouth podcast. I'm Tim Young. Did 3 hours of radio this morning, and then we get to come back and do this. And I tried to listen to a Twitter Spaces today for the first time in a while. It didn't work out. Turns out it's a little complicated.
How was your experience? You're not a big Twitter Space person. How was your experience?
Well, there was some feedback, and then it dropped, and then there was more feedback, and then there was thank God I didn't have headphones in when that thing started. I would have been deaf. The screeching, look, I don't like or dislike Ron DeSantis. Jesus, that was bad.
I just want to say, are you glad that we get to start a stream tonight with complaining about somebody else's technical difficulties instead of our own?
I don't know what it's like. Hey, look, if a presidential campaign can't start off.
So don't be so hard on yourself.
The owner of the company is trying to run a Twitter space with a presidential campaign. They should have tested capacity beforehand. If it's true that it had all those problems because of it being overloaded, they should have tested capacity beforehand. Well,
here's the thing. If they weren't able to test capacity, I'm sure they had an inkling that this may not be able to go as smoothly as hoped. There should have been the clearest communication afterwards. They should have been locked and loaded.
Yes.
To be able to respond to this.
Yes. They should have.
I feel like Trump got out responses to it quicker than
he did, actually.
Some of them
better
than others. Some of them worse than others.
But my idea was, and my concept was that I thought Trump should have done a Twitter space of his own beforehand. Man, if he would have crashed the system for being more popular, because if he would have started 3 minutes before they did, it would have wrecked the system, and then it would have been a whole nother ball game.
But I don't think that he is able to. I think he stays on truth.
You think there's a contract that holds him down?
Absolutely. There'd be no reason to not be on Twitter.
I would have, again, if I'm advising that campaign, I'm like, dude, get on there.
But if he signed a contract,
it depends on how deep the contract is.
Out of all the people who wanted him on their platforms, my assumption is it's a pretty large contract.
Yeah. You let Don Jr. do it.
Because here's the thing. If the only value in your platform is that Trump's on it, you have to ensure that value maintains.
I wonder how much money he got paid for that. A ton, right?
His value on the platform is worth a ton.
His value to Twitter, I bet. How much do you think he's worth to Twitter? If Elon paid $44 billion, what do you think Trump's value is to Twitter, as far as engagement? And $1 billion, $2 billion,
an F ton. That's my number.
He's got to be. He basically would be the platform if he came on there. That's all of their numbers, all of their valuation came between 2016 and 2020. Everything exploded. Late 2015, when Trump was on there and everyone was paying attention to Trump's account.
Mm-hmm. Well, there have just been so many moments, right? When he initially got added back in onto Twitter, when his account was reinstated by Elon Musk, and he didn't get on then.
His account blew up.
Then it's okay, maybe he's waiting for something else. There have been multiple moments where it would have been the moment to get back on. This is probably the biggest one.
Yeah, that was the window.
And he hasn't. So to me, that only makes sense if there's a contractual obligation there.
Yeah. His responses, though, and the campaign's responses were fantastic. I can't knock it. And you know that I'm probably one of the only indifferent people when it comes to this stuff right now. I'm probably one of the few. I have my opinions on both guys, but right now it's whoever comes out of this. I'm going to vote for whoever comes out of this. But that being said, man, the stuff that they responded with was spot on. They were so good.
The Trump campaign.
Yes.
Some of them were good.
Some of them
we're going to go through them all.
Yeah, let's go through them all.
Some of them were good.
Some of them were not. Let's just skip to it, right? What's up, Tommy? Let's do this. All right. So we're on Trump's truth. All right.
Hold on. Before you start.
Yeah.
Did you do the responses I told you to do to your tweets?
I did one of them.
Okay, good.
To the poll.
Okay, good.
Yeah. All right. So here's Trump's truth. and we're going to go through this, and I'm going to go down because he went hard. Let me make sure my volume is up here. This is the one that. So okay, let's start with the bad. You want to start with the bad?
Well, I just think we should go in order.
Okay.
Because I think we should go through and give our opinions with all the information people can.
So he started with the interactive polls where he put up that he's 56 points ahead. Fair. I'm in. All right. I don't know what this is. I've not actually watched all of these. Ready? Here we go.
Ron DeSantis was struggling big time in his primary race for governor of Florida. Polls revealed DeSantis was failing so bad, he was losing by a staggering 17 points. Then DeSantis was saved by the endorsement of President Trump. Trump's support was so powerful, just days after the endorsement, DeSantis took a commanding lead that propelled him to being elected governor.
I'd like to thank our president for standing by me when it wasn't necessarily the smart thing to do.
You're welcome, Ron. Unfortunately, instead of being grateful, DeSantis is now attacking the very man who saved his career. Isn't it time DeSantis remembers how he got to where he is?
Make America great again. Build the wall. Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
Truth
That
is,
was a great
there's
ad.
only one person who can make America great again.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Okay. I like that.
My only
what's your move on this one?
My
Al?
only gripe is with the language of now Ron's attacking Trump, because I don't think it needed that. I don't think it was necessary. I think that Trump has definitely been the one that goes after Ron more. And so to me, if you're making a smart move like that, and the commercial was really strong.
I thought it was really strong.
It was really strong.
I wanted to laugh at that because it's not inaccurate.
No, it's not, except for the one part where he says now Ron's attacking Trump. Again,
Give it a couple of days.
He should well, yeah. But they didn't launch it in a few days. They launched it now.
He took a couple of swings, but it really has been the Trump
campaign. If they
campaign
cut that one line out and it was just like DeSantis would not have survived or succeeded without Trump,
Alex,
it would have been great.
Alex, the reading, come on, that is so like. I mean, like it's cool when it's on your side, but when you're against the guy and you literally like, come on, I just want to see this part again. Trump campaign
commercial.
nailed this appropriately today. They really did.
DeSantis remembers how he got to where he is.
Make America great again. Build
Come on, that's good.
the wall. Then Mr. Trump
No, it
said,
is.
"You're fired." I love that part.
Truth is,
That's so good. It's good. I mean, as far as political commercials go, that might be the Trump campaign's best commercial ever.
I think that's a smart move in the fact that I think DeSantis, the reason he's not sticking up and supporting Trump more in, these legal battles that Trump's had, and a lot of the critique that he's gotten has been about like these issues are bigger than politics and we have to be like outspoken about them, even if it means that it might hurt our campaign. So I think that DeSantis obviously sees a benefit in not being associated with Trump at all. And so the Trump campaign calling that out, that wasn't always the case, that he had, received so much support and acknowledged that support and thanked for that support over and over again before this election cycle. Yeah. I think that's a smart move from the Trump campaign.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's go back to, because I think that was calculated and great. I thought that was great. The other stuff, all right, so Trump.
I would say that's the second, if I remember correctly, that's my second favorite thing that Trump posted today.
Well, we'll get to the good one.
Yeah.
He truthed here. Can I blow these up yet? DeSanctimonious raised so much money during his run for governor, which in theory cannot be used for his current escapade. And before this, his poll numbers tanked. And wow, did they tank? Okay, it's fine. Is this another commercial? Did we not see this one? Is this?
I don't know. I think he retruthed from himself.
Let's see.
Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the
he
same one.
retruthed from himself.
It's the same thing.
The
No. We got a new one.
We got a new one.
Here
We got it, folks.
All right. We've clearly never seen this before. Make sure these are all pulled up. Here we go. This is commercial number 2 that Trump dropped today.
The Washington established politicians like to talk about how they can be just like Donald Trump. The truth? There's only one Donald Trump. Only one who gave us the largest tax cuts in history, who gave vets the health care they deserve, and stood up to China and protected your job. Only one who kept us out of endless wars while destroying our terrorist enemies. Only one who fundamentally changed the Supreme Court, was called the most pro-life president in history, and relentlessly protected our Second Amendment rights and our borders. Why would we ever settle for Trump imposters?
Let that go.
Make America great again.
When there's only one, starting day one, who can make America great again.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Okay.
I like that one
The
better.
Washington
You like this one better?
Yeah, because I think as an ad, it's more inspiring. It hits on the positives about him and not just the negatives about Ron.
Rumble. This is posted on Rumble, and now they're doing their slap championships. There we go. All right. There's
But I think a lot of people, the reason that they like DeSantis is they think that he's a new face, and they think that it's hopeful for the movement, and that's what I hear from a lot of young folks that favor DeSantis over Trump. And I think Trump needs to not just do the negatives. He has to inspire the same type of hope, and he has all of these accomplishments. He needs to be highlighting them.
I feel like I could say anything with that background music on that commercial, and it would sound like dramatic and patriotic. So
It
all
does. It does. It's a
So
good.
then-
They got a good voiceover voice.
so
too.
then that was good again. And then there's these posts. Rob, my red button is bigger, better, stronger, and is working. Truth. Yours does not, per my conversation with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, soon to become my friend. Now, when he's talking about his red button, he's referring to that red button,
Yeah,
not the bomb red button.
I hated this one.
I'm not.
I hated it. I read this and I thought that somebody posted this as a joke.
Yeah, I wasn't.
There are some when Trump has written truths, I can never tell if he's joking or not.
Yeah.
I don't like the style. I don't think it's great. Also, I just think that again, it's hitting on something that's not entirely like accurate, which gives the other side all the ability to just attack that one thing instead of
Yes.
having to acknowledge that the ads were really good.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that Truth could handle the amount of people on it that that Twitter just received.
No.
And so to make that comparison, it's like, just sit that one out. Like,
Yeah, that one
I get
wasn't
that you
good.
have to promote the platform.
Yeah,
but
Twitter is better than Truth. Let's be real, on at least for their technical capabilities. Here's the commercial. That I just want to get to this. This is all I've wanted to do, because this one, did that blow up properly there? Am I in the okay? This one is the one that like he wins the day. Ready? This is whoever put this together and threw it up. This wins. Like I don't like.
Yeah.
I honestly, I only got to hear a part of Ron DeSantis's.
well, because it crashed.
Because I didn't even hear him at all.
No, until
And
we
then-
listened
yeah.
to the redo.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. So this is the winner of the day, I think. Well. I mean, that's what I heard. That's like the whole. Yeah. No. I mean, again. It's so bad. Yeah, that was yikes. That's a yikes.
Mhm.
And that commercial wins it for Trump today. That whole piece, I think that was even if you like DeSantis, come on, that was bad today.
That was bad.
I just got a message. I can't say who I got a message from, but there are a few people who are indifferent, we'll say,
Mhm.
who were like, what a flop.
Well-
I don't understand why they didn't do a rally. DeSantis, here's what I would have done if I were DeSantis. I would have had a big rally and I would have simulcast on Twitter and then had Elon there. And then you go do a Twitter Spaces afterwards. So you have your big,
Right.
you have your big announcement where he walks out on stage, big American flag, the thing they've been teasing. You walk out, You do your yada, 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 and then you go have an off the cuff with Elon Musk right off stage or on stage in front of the crowd, and you simulcast it. You could hold Elon Musk's phone. There you go. Talk right into my phone. We're doing a Twitter Spaces right here.
Well, I also didn't like the fact. So the moment this started, and it started late too. It started at like 8:07 or something. When did it start? 5:07 our time.
Was it 5:07?
It was like 5:07.
It was a car
he
wreck.
obviously had something ready to launch on his personal Twitter at like 5. So that went up before the Spaces even started. And so the announcement was not on the Twitter Spaces. It was just a video. My problem is that I liked the teaser video yesterday. I felt like it was fun. It was a good, just short teaser for what it was. It wasn't anything like spectacular, but it did its job. Today, the announcement is just the teaser that you launched yesterday with your voice then on top of it.
Yeah.
For like less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we've known you're running for a while. Like you've known you're running for a while. You had the
He's
time.
been
You
running
couldn't
for a
have
while.
made
It's not even
2 ads.
Yeah, it's
Trump just put out like 4.
He's got a
You
war
couldn't
room
make
team.
2 ads.
He's got a war room team ready to go. I mean, he's got Dan Scavino, I believe, on his team, and Dan Scavino was like the social media guy last time. He can pop things off like a heartbeat. So
I don't understand why the ad today was the same ad as yesterday's ad. It should have been like him doing that, walking out, and then like maybe a good speech or something.
It really did seem like amateur hour.
It didn't make sense, especially when their team has been going after Trump for not being able to bring crowds, like with Iowa. Like everybody's saying that was because Trump couldn't bring a crowd and not the weather. And there's been a lot of back and forth about what's the truth in that situation. And so when you don't have your announcement then in front of a huge crowd, it diminishes
and
that
the thing
point
is,
significantly.
He could pull a huge crowd, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they didn't do that. I don't understand that at all. All right, so let's do the next ad that I saw here. This is, well, not an ad, but a meme that Trump created. Here we go. That's a failure to launch. That's what that was.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then he says, wow, the DeSantis... What is DeSantis? Isn't it supposed to be sanctimonious? I don't know. The DeSantis Twitter launch was a disaster. His whole campaign will be a disaster. Watch. Then this is interesting because I am obviously Tim Scott is lined up to be VP with Trump, right? I mean, he's like, I've said all this negative stuff about, and we've dropped all these ads about DeSantis.
When who was it? Washington Post, not Washington Post, New York Post. Who posted disaster? Disaster.
Yeah, that was
the better name.
Yeah.
Why has no one done that? If
And
you want to go after him, that's the better name.
A lot more money in the Trump campaign than the New York Post right now. I'll tell you that. That could have come up with that. They need better creative people over there. Other than that one, the side by side, and then the traditional commercial.
Mm-hmm.
The other stuff they've been putting out is like bleh. Mm-hmm. Tim Scott's presidential launch, even with the broken microphone, don't pay the contractor, Tim, was by far the best presidential launch of the week. Rob's was a catastrophe. Number one, calling him Rob is funny. It's very simple to like do that. And again, he keeps reposting his other ads. Is the DeSantis launch fatal? Yes, he says there. But this is, and then is there anything else since we've posted? He reposted a poll. What's this now? There's a new one from 9 minutes ago. The FBI, the devil, Adolf Hitler, Dick Cheney, George Soros. What is this? All right, let's see what this is. Ready?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Ron DeSantis Twitter space.
Hello? Is my microphone working correctly?
George, can you just wait while we...
Hello? Can you hear me?
We can all hear you, George. Can you just hold on for a second?
Hilfa, I don't think they can hear me.
I can hear you fine, George. Just speak to the
I don't think George knows how to use Twitter.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Can I please make my big announcement now? Everyone just...
Hello?
Just shut up, George.
Can somebody just mute George?
Okay, so they have a voiceover guy who does Ron DeSantis. All right, come.
Oh, it also could be AI. You can do that with AI.
Yeah.
You can feed it and make it say whatever you want. So that'll be interesting.
Oh yeah.
As people do, especially negative ads.
All right, let's see how long this goes.
Dick, could you try not to cough on that?
Okay, so how are we going to take out Trump, you guys?
Guys from the FBI, this is not a private call. This is a public Twitter space. Everyone can listen in.
God damn it.
Okay, this is really funny. This is really funny.
Anyway, guys, we invited everyone to this this Twitter space so Governor Ron DeSantis could.
Everyone just shut the hell up so I can make my announcement, okay?
You go, girl.
Wait, the devil is gay?
So what? Everyone in this call is gay.
It's 2 minutes long. We were only halfway through it.
I happen to know every single.
Governor.
Congratulations.
And George Soros, I'm putting both your asses in jail, and Ron DeSanctimonious can kiss my big, beautiful 2024 presidential ass. Trump 2024, baby. Let's go. And
Okay. That was pretty funny. Ran a little
good.
long. It was pretty funny.
Was funny.
The Dick Cheney coughing the entire time is very good.
Yes. It had good creative direction.
It was, yeah.
It's just like, I mean, this is like, it's peak political theater.
Yes. I mean, it is. But it's, Trump did well today with this stuff.
And again, that's the number one thing that I don't understand from the DeSantis team, why there was not better anticipation and preparation for something like this to happen.
I don't know.
They should have had a video ready. I think it would have been good for DeSantis if their goal with this was to connect directly with people. And also probably to get the positive press of having this be the most listened to, social media announcement that there's been. Great plan. But also, like, if they had a video of him talking direct to camera, even if it was something that was filmed in advance that they put out as if it was a response directly to this happening, it would have really helped DeSantis and people not thinking that he can speak off the cuff, or that, he's not as bold with Trump with his statements, or that he isn't personable. I think that is an angle that they're going to need to hit, is how to make Ron DeSantis more personable. Trump is super personable. They have a lot of their strengths and weaknesses in very opposite places. And they know how to hit that, but they're also both of them are going to have to figure out how to make those areas up.
Okay, so I put up a poll of this is a poll that I did on Twitter, and again, these are not scientific. We're sending it out to, I'd imagine, Republicans on here.
Probably
and it
a lot
says
of
now
Trump
that
supporters.
yes, now that DeSantis has officially announced, who are you voting for? 64.6% to Trump, 30% to DeSantis, and then the rest to other, basically. And that has 11,771 votes in about a half hour, 40 minutes. So
you're just trying to get your poll posted on.
It's not going to. It's not big enough of a. It's not big enough of a blowout.
Of a gap. Yeah. Last time you ran it, it was a bigger gap, right?
It was a more than a baby gap.
Because he shared it on Truth. Trump did.
Trump did. He retruthed it. So we're best friends.
Wow. And soon to be Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, it's a
trio.
So then I would show his Instagram, but he put up really the same things on Instagram as his Truth. So those were the exact same videos that he posted, and he's now posted up the devil one too. But his preparing to launch has let's see how many views it has on it. The has 1 million views on it. His Ron crashing start has 1.6 million views, and already that fake announcement video that's pretty funny has 400,000 views on it. So Trump's team appropriately using Instagram. I guess they don't have a rule against using Instagram, but Twitter is off limits. So that is that. The thing is, I literally could not. I mean, I had no time to listen to it, and I got very frustrated trying to. I wonder how many people got frustrated trying to listen to the announcement today from DeSantis and just tuned out because I just couldn't do it. I have other things to do. We were out for a walk, and I was like, I figured we'd listen to it like casually on the walk.
If we were listening to that like inside, it would have been like
I would have lost it.
Very
I would have
annoying.
lost it.
If we
It would
had
have been
like
so
set
annoying.
up to listen or something.
Yeah. So I mean, where does this go from here, Alex? I mean, are they going to debate? Has Trump agreed to any debates yet?
No.
Okay. I do want to see them debate.
The last we heard was him saying that he wasn't going to, and then there was a little bit of back and forth between his influencers defending it, saying that he's just not going to debate in that place. But I don't think that we've had clarification on that from Trump himself. I want to respond to Dagna's comment about, I think it was Dagna, that said nobody really wants Florida man, Alex. I think this is the dangerous part about being online and in the circles is we're most likely to be hearing from people who agree with us. As we put things out, as we interact on content, we're we're exposed to people who are most likely in agreement with us when it comes to who we want in office, and what we think are important issues. I know so many people, so many independents, so many young people that want DeSantis way more than they want Trump.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that DeSantis has a better chance than Trump, but if the people who want Trump, you need to be aware of what the weaknesses are, what the perceptions are from people who like DeSantis. It's not about making a black and white, this early on in the primary saying this person is a shoo-in or not. Because when you do that, you get complacent. Trump, when he won in 2016, he was the underdog. I mean, he worked his butt off. He connected with people who nobody was connecting. And then he continued to campaign throughout his entire presidency. He never stopped connecting with people once he was in office. And so you have to continue to do that groundwork to be set aside. And so to just write it off as a shoo-in, or like, you're the rightful heir to the presidency, that doesn't help anyone. I hope we get 4 more years of Trump. I hope that at some point DeSantis gets to be in office as well. Like, I think that's most of the general consensus, but I also know a ton of people that they do not want 4 more years of Trump. They want something new. Somebody, was saying that like our perception was that we wanted Trump in 2020 and DeSantis in 2024. And we still want that. Like, we are ready for new blood. I'm pretty indifferent. I think that both would do a good job. I think that Trump's definitely campaigning better than DeSantis this far, but we are so early on. So I think that writing it off as if nobody cares just because we might not be exposed to those viewpoints is a limited view.
Yeah. I think we need Trump, and I've said this a million times. I think that Trump is the guy that should be in because he is perceived as crazy and he's bucking the system. My whole thing is, why can't we all just get along? Could you imagine if it was him and DeSantis working together, and then you had Tim Scott as like a secretary of something, and then I mean, you could line up the powerhouses of the Republican Party, which they should do, like literally have them all lined up in a row. Who's going to be secretaries of what?
Yeah,
and just move forward as a massive ticket like no one's ever seen before. Unfortunately, egos in politics don't allow for that to happen.
No, in politics itself, and the amount of power that there is in the personalities that attracts, will always prevent that from being the case.
Yeah. It's just, by the way, there's a Twitter Spaces with the quote advisors of the Trump campaign happening right now on DC Drano and the Trump advisors on Twitter, in case you're wondering. I don't know.
Well, don't tell people another place to go.
I wouldn't go do that though. I mean, again, like, what are you going to hear? We've heard everything. That's the problem at this point. We've heard everything. This is just theater at this point. We know both of these guys, all of their policy stances. We know everything that they stand for. We know everything they've gone through. We know all their ups. We don't know probably all the dirt on Ron DeSantis. I'm sure that'll come out soon enough. Mm-hmm. But I just
that's the big thing, is we know probably all the dirt that there is because the left's been throwing it out about Trump.
Throwing it out. They've used the full power of the federal government to investigate the guy for like 7 or 8 years now. Like there's nothing. There's literally nothing. It turns out Trump, remember the tax returns were going to take him down. They had to change the laws in New York so that E. Jean Carroll could go after him, which is ridiculous. I mean, again, all of the stuff of them going after Trump, they had nothing. They had nothing, or else they would have got him. Mm-hmm. They literally, you had partisan votes on, completely partisan votes on the impeachment nonsense, right? Which is why I don't understand why Republicans aren't retaliating by doing their own against Biden. He couldn't stand trial or testify or do anything anyway. And they have legitimate crimes and legitimate evidence of crimes against him. So there's nothing left to pull out about Trump. There's got to be something on DeSantis.
Well, and Trump has teased that about, bringing things out of the skeletons out of the closet if DeSantis chooses to run. So I think that this is going to be a hideous campaign cycle. I think it's going to be very aggressive.
Those DeSantis commercials where he's reading "Make America Great Again" to his kids, and "You're fired" and building the wall. I think that's like the first nail in the coffin. I totally have forgotten about those. But I don't know how do you say, I mean, again, how do you say that Trump did a bad job to run against him? How do you say that the guy that helped you win an election? And I'm not like angry that DeSantis runs. I don't blame him for running. He's a popular governor. Why not? Right? He's got a lot of support.
Well, he's been told that they want him in 2024 since before Trump lost
Yes.
2020.
So again, like, I don't blame him. It's just, how do you run a campaign against a guy who you acknowledged helped you out, and who you made commercials reading his book and signs to your children?
Yeah, when you're aware of that, you might think like, this could very quickly bite me in the butt. The fact that, there's actual footage that I put out of me like simping for this guy, that now I'm going to try to run a campaign saying that he shouldn't be president again.
Yeah. By the way, in the comments, they're saying they'll make stuff up on DeSantis, and NAACP was just a preview of Musk coming for Ron, Muck coming for Ron. Sorry, it looked like Musk because you capitalized it. Yeah, I mean, that was a garbage thing, wasn't it? Did you see that? The travel warning, the NAACP came out with a travel warning against for black people to go to Florida, and the corporate media literally ran with it. They ran with it. They literally they had it on nightly news that that Florida is unsafe for black people. The chairman of the board of directors of the NAACP lives in Tampa, and they're saying that it's dangerous for black people. These people are insane, and they will say anything. Obviously, the corporate media is afraid of DeSantis, and they're working with the NAACP to just make up bullshit on him. But I still just don't think. I don't think it's his time. Like, it's just, I'll vote for him if he gets the nomination, but I don't think he gets the nomination. I don't know. I don't know where this goes. But what's his what policy does he have? I know Trump has tried to differentiate himself on abortion, right? All of a sudden, he took like a different stance on abortion.
Which then today he went back again because they highlighted in the ad that they ran that he was the most pro-life president, which he was. But then like last week, he's out there, and he should be. He should highlight that. On a federal level, that needs to be something that I think any Republican candidate speaks out about and is strong about. It definitely can hurt people on the congressional level, on the state level when they do that. We saw that the last election cycle, a lot of women came out to vote, because that they were scared that their rights are being taken away. And so, but as a Republican running for president, you cannot lose that base. You cannot lose the pro-life base. So I don't think that they have worked out really what his stance is going to be on
my issue. And again, so by the way, I don't know if you saw best YouTuber ever said, I hope we get a conscious president. I think that's fair. Like somebody who knows that they are president of the United States, somebody who knows that it's not Obama. And then Patriot Tommy says DeSantis is the establishment pick. No thanks to anyone who had H.W. Bush as a role model. I mean, here's the thing. There's that picture, and I always reference this when I'm on radio filling in for David Webb and anywhere I go. There's a picture of all like 5 presidents up to Obama. So it was like Carter, Bush, both Bushes. Was Ford in it at the time? So it was like Carter, Ford, both Bushes. No. It was both. It doesn't matter. Carter, both Bushes, Clinton, Obama. Okay. And like, there was a time in my life before Trump where I was like, oh, that's neat. Look, they're all cool and they all like work together and they're all like friendly, even though they're like different parties. But when Trump started running and exposed how much these people hate us and get us into nonsense wars and do all sorts of BS, I'm like, those guys, that's an awful photo. Like that photo, that's the people who are like globalists who don't like us. And like, I wouldn't even think that I would have ever used that term because I was like, oh, that's it's an A. Jones term. And I'm like, before that, I'm like, nah, I mean, come on. Like, this is really cool. Now I'm like, this is awful. These are the people that don't like us all in one place. And the fact that they get along should scare you. So the fact that, like, honestly, the fact that they like Ron DeSantis does bother me. They should not like Ron DeSantis. That it's sort of like a lot of people are saying whoever the deep state doesn't like is who I'm voting for, or whoever the FBI is after is who I like. That's kind of where I am now in life. I mean, I will vote for the Republican nominee. Yeah. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Well, that I think there's a difference between the enemy of my enemy is my friend and actually liking somebody. So it'll be interesting to see, because obviously there's a lot of connections there. And obviously the establishment likes DeSantis more than they like Trump. But I don't feel like we're far ahead enough to know why, because I mean, maybe it's just that DeSantis is not Trump and they don't want Trump back. And it is that enemy of my enemy is my friend. But I think that what's important to look at is who has the most power and how those power dynamics shift depending on who comes into office. Because establishment people might like Ron, but if he puts his foot down on certain things, he might be able to do good work. On the flip side of that, Trump is somebody who is financially successful on his own outside of politics. That's obviously safer of a bet because he's not going to be financially incentivized to, take big behind the scenes deals and shady money deals at the expense of the American people, which I think is a lot of where people are afraid of, rightfully so, of the establishment. And so that's not really something that you have to worry about Trump. He's not going to put us into endless wars for money. We don't know how the other candidates on the field are going to react when given the dollars.
I mean, we're going to have to get out of Ukraine,
Mhm.
right? We're going to have to de-escalate World War III, whoever comes in, and whatever China's going to do with Taiwan, because that's coming. So Tommy actually made a good point. This was a craziest part is all those guys are related. Did you ever see the kids project?
Yeah.
That all the presidents are related?
And there's only one that wasn't. I forget who it was. There's one that was not.
Only president who wasn't.
I believe. Maybe I'm
It wasn't Trump, was it?
No.
James Buchanan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say it was somebody like random.
He was the one who was like, so James Buchanan, my favorite part of him, he's my favorite president. When people ask me who was your favorite president, do you know why he's my favorite president? He's the guy who was he put off the Civil War when the South was separating itself. And he was like, F it, I want nothing to do with this. This job sucks. And he left and he went home. So that was Buchanan. He was from Kansas, right? And he was also never married. He was a certified bachelor. Yes. So I believe his line was, they said, like, who should be president next? And he was like, whoever enjoys being here as much as I enjoy leaving, I think was his line. And so that's why he's my favorite president. If not for him, Abraham Lincoln isn't awesome. I mean, that's really like he's the setup guy for Lincoln. Because Lincoln, of course, had to come in and clean up the mess, and so Buchanan was the failure beforehand. But so it is like, again, man, we are in such a bad shape as a country, and whoever comes in, like I trust Trump to do it. I know what Trump will do. I know who he is. I mean, we definitely know who he is through all the investigations.
It's definitely the smarter bet. You know exactly what you're getting. I mean, even before he was in office, you know exactly what you're getting with Trump.
Yeah. So
and it scared a lot of people. Everybody was like, he's going to start nuclear war, and then he ended up having very diplomatic relationships with these people
that were supposed to be like our
yes, like he would go
enemies.
from like Twitter fighting to like having productive meetings with these people and gaining their respect because Trump's always acted like and always been a powerful figure. And so when people that are not at that level of power, which is most people, are looking at that, it can be very scary. But then you realize that Trump is putting these people in his place, which is my main thing about what I don't like about his campaign style sometimes and the people who are around him is that he should be the strong figure. I think today he stepped back into that. I think this is the first time he's gone after DeSantis in like a smart way that represents him instead of being, influenced by these little grifty influencers about him.
The red button made sense, but it was a little bit of a stretch. It was like when he's like, I'm going to be friends with Kim Jong-un. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It read a little bit of.
Yeah. So I just saw OKC Azure says I'd probably vote for Kennedy over DeSantis. The establishment hates him almost as much as Trump. That's the thing. So when Kennedy is described as anti-jab, right? Like when they constantly like beat him up on that. That's how they introduce him. I'm like, all right, that got my attention.
Yeah.
Like you start there, I'm like, all right, let's talk. RFK Jr., let's chat. Let's see what else you got. Because he didn't want any kind of mandates, and he was skeptical of everything that was coming up medically. That guy sounds logical to me. He sounds like a normal guy who's not paid off by Big Pharma. So I'm okay with that. Aren't you?
You don't think he can win the nomination, though, do you?
He's not going to win the Democratic nomination, but man, he should run as an independent. That should be a conversation that's happening right now with Trump.
It's interesting that that's how that's going, because we see a lot of people in congressional and Senate races now saying that they're running as independents, that they're separating from the Democrat Party, and obviously Republicans, get all excited that people are anti-Democrat, and so we accept everybody. Yeah, and so it's interesting because I think that the culture, especially amongst young people, is more towards being independent. Young people have a very big hesitancy towards establishment, and not just establishment, but just partisan issues in general. A lot of the reason that Bernie Sanders was successful is just because he was speaking out against his own party. So it'll be interesting to see, and Trump did that with Republicans.
Well, the difference is that Bernie was cashing in. Bernie's thing was cashing in on it. Trump's was losing money ultimately, as he lost money on all of this.
Yes, but I'm saying the public perception is very similar, and which is why a lot of the Trump supporters that I know, myself included, were Bernie supporters first, because it kind of laid out that carpet for being anti-establishment, being, wanting somebody that's outside of partisan control, wanting somebody that's going to bring something in that's new and that's fresh. And I think that that's energy that needs to be kept by anybody running, bringing things in that are new and inspiring people if they want to get the youth vote. Yeah.
Good. What do I add to that? I think we're good on that. No, I think we're pretty good on that. What else do we have to add about this conversation? Man, I can't wait to hear what DeSantis said today. Maybe I'll play it back. Or was it? I heard that it was basically a stock. They said it was supposed to be off the cuff, and it sounded like it was red.
Well, it was obviously red. Were they saying it was off the cuff?
Yes.
Were they?
Yes, it was advertised as like him just being off the cuff, just being a chill guy.
He did answer.
He's gonna be a chill guy and show up and just be.
Yeah. I think they're overcorrecting a little bit there.
He answered questions, but again, they were from approved people.
Yeah, probably.
Too.
Definitely.
Which is no different than a Biden press conference. Yeah. That's the problem. Is that like I want different, and they should have just opened that shit up. They should have just been like, all right, let's go. Anybody in the audience, let's and just pick a name at random. And just say, whatever it is, even if they get on and do, like Howard Stern stuff or whatever, like the Baba Booey. They get on and yell Baba Booey.
Well, I understand why you wouldn't want to do that, but then also don't have it advertised as some off the cuff thing. Like, again, the more these people try to frame themselves in a certain way, the more you open yourself up for critique and criticism about not being that way.
Yeah. I mean, yes. I think, man, again, it's a shame that they don't have something similar on Truth. Right? Or like if Trump did a Twitter Spaces, if they open that stuff up, Trump could take questions from anybody and field them because he's a comedian. Ultimately, he's a comedian. He's very quick on his feet. He can answer anything. I mean, like his handling of Caitlin Collins, I just don't think, again, and I have to see it because I think that Ron DeSantis has been very protected to this point.
Yes.
I don't think that Ron DeSantis would have performed under the same amount of pressure that Trump did with CNN.
No.
I don't think he has the ability to.
I don't know anybody that would have. I mean, Trump, that is his prime time.
You saw me do it this week. Anyway, but yeah,
okay.
We can't talk about how.
Let's not compare yourself to
But
Trump.
I could do off the cuff. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
That's fun.
But hold on. But you're understanding that I'm talking about people who are politicians. And there's a reason that you're not a politician, because you'd get really bored.
I'd get incredibly bored. I think politics is annoying. I would be literally if I was a politician. So if I was a member of the House, which is what a few large organizations wanted me to run for last time, I couldn't imagine being in there right now with all the evidence against Biden. Like I'm tweeting about why aren't we impeaching? You promised impeaching. You said you were going to remove Schiff. Remember, McCarthy said last week he's going to remove Adam Schiff from he should be expelled. All right, it's been a week. What? like I would be probably censured, and they would put me on like the Tim Young committee, like the committee on
Tim Young.
rocks. The committee on rocks. They'd be like, Tim, go look at rocks, and that's all the responsibility you get, because I would be. Again, there has to be somebody, and I know Chip Roy does really well, but he plays politics well as well, and I trust him and Thomas Massey, but like, and Ron Paul on the Senate side, but Rand Paul, sorry, on the Senate side. But I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth shut with just the BS that the Republicans are doing, and like the dangling the carrot. Here it is. We're gonna impeach Biden. We got a whole laptop full of stuff. We're gonna get him this time. Yeah. Vote for me next time. See you later. We got Adam Schiff because the Durham report came out. We're gonna expel him. See you on Hannity. We're gonna write a mean letter in the meantime. Oh no, can't do it now. We got the debt ceiling. We're too busy with just one thing. We couldn't do more. Yeah, somebody said I'd be on the watching grass. We got to do more debt ceiling things. We can only do one thing at once. We definitely couldn't just get rid of them right now. That takes a very simple vote to expel someone from their committees, and they have plenty of time to do it. It's bullshit what they're doing right now. So. Oh yeah, RFK Jr.'s wife was what's her name from Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I wouldn't mind having her as a first lady, just because.
What's her name?
Cheryl
Hines.
Cheryl Hines.
Yeah, she's very funny, and she had to remember they made her denounce RFK. She had to be like, my husband's a little crazy. Now she believes all that shit. You're not married to that guy and not on the same page. I guarantee you, she knew what he was about beforehand. She knows what he's about now. She just doesn't want to lose money. But I bet if he were elected to something or joined an administration, she would show up and be like, guess what? I believe all this stuff. I mean, Larry David, who she worked with on Curb Your Enthusiasm, is a crazy lib who like yells at people. And they actually brought on Alexander Vindman. Remember him? That he looks like an adult Cabbage Patch Kid who was responsible for leaking the literally perfectly fine phone call with Trump and Ukraine. And moving forward with that impeachment sham. But I can't believe they actually had him on Curb Your. I had to turn it off. I really enjoyed Curb Your Enthusiasm, but that episode where they were like, he's a hero, I turned it off. I have no, and they were like promoting his book. I just couldn't watch it. So it's so crazy. Cindy Summer says, I'm sick of the people simping for DeSantis on Twitter. Cindy, I am sick of both sides simping. Me too. Because there's one thing to be a fan of somebody, right? It's one thing to be like, I like Trump. I like DeSantis. I think Trump's way funnier. Like, I think he's way funnier. Trump has also proven himself as a leader, and I like that he scares the shit out of our enemies, right? That is like nonstop,
and more personable.
And I like, again, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The fact that the Democrats and deep state and everything else are after this guy, and they can't find anything after 8 years, like, I'm in, right? I like him. I'm not writing off DeSantis again. I'm sure he's got great policy and stuff like that. But there's really not much you can say for like the goof. It's gotten goofy is the problem, right? It's gotten goofy. I like DeSantis's policy in Florida. Everything he's done, when you think it becomes policy. When there's groomers, he stops groomers. When there's pornography, and I think I can say that on YouTube.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't say it again, though.
Yeah, I know. In libraries, he banned it. When there are adults going after children, he banned it. When there's like socialism taking over in when there's like certain influenced attorney generals or district attorneys, he got rid of them. Like, the guy has cleaned up that state and done incredibly well. His policy, you think it and it comes to life. When there's an issue in Florida, it is handled like done.
Right. And
it's handled legislatively. And then the judiciary reinforces it. It is taken care of. That is the kind of leadership America needs as well. Again, it's really a shame that those two can't work together, because you'd have the mouthy guy who scares the crap out of our enemies teamed with the guy who knows how to get stuff done legislatively as soon as possible. You want to talk about a 1-2 combo, a 1-2 punch? Trump with the mouth and the actual fear and the American nationalism. Are we allowed to say that? Oh my God, the nationalism where you believe that America is number one in the world. That's what I grew up on. That's what many people grew up on. That's the guy you want as, I think, number one for right now. And number two is your guy who carries out your legislative That's your representative over. Yep, he's a bit of it, but I trust him as far as policy goes to get it done. If they could work together, we've got an unbeatable team in Washington, D.C. that I believe in the policy of. Unfortunately, they can't. Seems like they just, I don't understand why. I don't understand. Maybe somebody spit in somebody's drink at some point. But man, would they make a hell of a team. Could you, again, imagine this combo. And again, to go back to our graphic for the show, Trump is number one. DeSantis moving forward with the legislative policy on the Hill, over there hustling nonstop, working together, right? And then you got Elon Musk, who's keeping the channel free for communication so that they can defeat the corporate media, who's going to try to slam them constantly. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a 1, 2, 3. But
we can't have nice things.
Tim Scott was behind all of the urban renewal from the Trump campaign, where they were giving more money to HBCUs than even Obama. They I think quintupled or quadrupled the amount of money going to HBCUs. That was Tim Scott and our buddy Jerron's idea. Mm-hmm. The Platinum Plan that was going to actually, by the way, BLM going bankrupt right now. They're going bankrupt because they've spent all this money on themselves. Essentially, they've spent all of their money on themselves and their friends. You can look up the stories on this today. It's insane. Trump had this Platinum Plan set up. They never, and please, I challenge anybody to find a penny that BLM has given to any inner city, right? They have it to help any Black communities. The Platinum Plan that Trump had ready to go, and they had already started doing inner city rebuilding and helping out Black businesses, like nothing any Democrats ever come out with. And they were ready to actually empower Black communities and empower inner cities. Stuff that BLM is supposed to be doing, but BLM has spent their money on themselves and bought mansions for themselves in Los Angeles and Toronto. Mm-hmm. So you look at this team. If these a-holes could work together, where I think you've got every element down the line sitting right there, and they're fighting. And if they just actually looked around the room, if they got in a room together and they go, hey, maybe we can work this out. And then they move forward as like a mega team. If they could put the Megazord together, if they could, or Voltron from a different generation, if they could just put the whole thing together, they've each got their own dinosaur with its own little stupid powers. And if they could put it all together, we've got a Megazord that can take out the monster that is the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. Am I wrong, Al?
No, you're not wrong. And I think the other thing that is one of the reasons that people are so excited about DeSantis, for those who are, is that he has been in office over the past 3 years. You know, since Trump got out of office, DeSantis has remained at, like, his policy actions have remained at the forefront of people's minds because they have been continuing on after Trump has not been in office. And so I think that when Trump is campaigning and when he's putting out advertisements like that, that was the reason I liked his one today that actually highlighted how much he's done, because there is a bit of a disadvantage with all of the stuff he's done has not been at the forefront of people's minds. People have moved on. The media cycle is very quick. It's been a lot of, the left going after Trump and bashing him. And I think that Trump needs to remind people, remember how good things were over the 4 years where I was in office, and let's do that again.
Yeah. And it was only COVID that stopped all that stuff.
Correct.
By the way, this, again, there is nothing constitutionally, and I believe this for the longest time, and then I was proven wrong. There's nothing constitutionally that keeps the president and vice president from running if they can be from the same state and run. They don't have to be from different states.
Oh, I didn't know that was a...
Yeah, there was a thing where I always thought they had to be from different states. A lot of people do, but there's nothing.
Oh, really?
And by the way, if Byron Donalds is another freaking fighter that should be a part of this team, that he's part of the dream team too. That's what Tommy's saying here. And also that would be a good before and after puzzle on Wheel of Fortune. Byron, Donald, Trump.
I think it's really going to come down to it being the Trump versus the anti-Trump vote in the primaries.
It's so old.
And so I think that the more people that have joined this race, I think that it's gone. That's why DeSantis is dropping in the polls so much, is because there's more people getting in, and that's to Trump's benefit. That is not to DeSantis's benefit.
And the thing with me, and again, like obviously it really seems like no way. Oh, okay.
What?
Somebody funny. There's a funny tweet somebody sent me that Jeb Bush is running for president. The thing with me, why I like Trump, I can legitimately look, I'm not a fan of any politician. I'm just not. I never will be. And a lot of people fall into this fandom. I've also gotten to know a lot of people who write the policy for each of these guys. And I mean, I'm not going to endorse anybody because I want to stay unbiased, obviously, unless somebody wants to pay for me to be on their campaign right now. I'm a sellout. But I can make a case for both these guys. I can make a case for, again, literally, I could flip either one of them. I mean, either one of them would be decent. There are downsides to, I think just there's more questions about DeSantis right now because Trump has been investigated for so long. We know everything. I mean, literally everything about Trump,
Well, and also I think one of the biggest arguments for DeSantis is that he is gaining popularity amongst moderates and independents.
Yes.
And that's not only, he's not only at a disadvantage with how many people are in the Republican race, but when you have Democrats like Kennedy running that are not the establishment Democrat people, that takes away from that potential as well. Whereas people might have wanted to vote Republican for the first time, people like Kennedy might prevent those people from coming over to our side.
That's true. It's true. So yeah, again, I'm going to pull back up in a second here. I'm ripping a video for later that I need, but I'm working constantly because I see something really cool that I want to pull. But let's go back to this poll.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Pause.
Mm-hmm.
For everyone that's here, because we haven't done this yet, and then we've been going for an hour. If you're here and you're new here, make sure that you follow on Rumble and YouTube. Please follow us both places. It really helps us out. We stream every night at 9 Eastern time. We're going to have stream updates soon. We're not going anywhere. This is not a goodbye. Tim's going to give us the information in a second. Well, I started to sound like
we're going on a trip this weekend.
No. I'm just saying don't log out because
we're gonna go.
we're
gonna go on a trip this weekend, and we're going on that trip, right?
Yeah.
You're not still mad at me?
No.
Okay.
But make sure that you follow on both platforms, and if you came over from Twitter and you follow Tim on Twitter at Tim Young. Tim runs his mouth. Tim runs his mouth. If you could retweet whatever post you saw that brought you here, that's always very helpful.
Yeah, I'm gonna retweet it now.
We like to do this every day and hang out with you guys and talk and go over the news of the day. And obviously that's going to heat up here as we get further and further into primary season and then into the general. And you're going to hear us probably get very sick of it at times.
Oh, I'm already sick of it.
I know.
I'm already sick of it. And okay, so here's a poll. Again, I put up this poll now that Ron DeSantis has officially announced that he's running for president. Who are you voting for right now? With 15,000 votes. In a little over an hour, Trump is up 65% to 29%, and then others, of course. So we'll see where it goes, and we'll see what Iowa does. Iowa's a whole separate animal. I don't understand why the Iowa caucus is such a
big deal.
A big deal. Yeah, I just don't. But it's one of those things. It's traditional.
We're going to be there for it.
Yes, we will actually.
Fair.
And Trump so in 2016, Trump beat DeSantis with 40 people on the ground. Not DeSantis, sorry, Cruz, with 40 people on the ground compared to 4,000 or something like that. It was something crazy. That's when we knew Trump was going to blow things out.
Yeah.
And I just think that I really think it's I wouldn't take a look at that one because I think they're going to try to push conservatives away from Trump and do the whole thing again. If Trump pulls out Iowa, I'd be shocked. But I think New Hampshire and South Carolina are the ones you pay attention to. So.
Well, and Florida, do you think Florida will go DeSantis or Trump?
That's going to be an embarrassing one. If DeSantis loses that one.
He's done. If he loses Florida, he's
done.
Get
Boys to Men ready to sing End of the Road.
But do you think he will lose?
I don't know.
Because I mean, this is the issue I think with I think Trump's right for going after him for, making his success to begin with. But DeSantis did perform very well at the last election. I think he's made a name for himself separate from Trump. But again, I think it's smart for the Trump team to call on that. He wouldn't have had that opportunity without Trump.
Yeah.
My biggest
issue, commercial, I'm telling you, Al, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
That commercial showing the old commercials where DeSantis is reading Make America Great Again and you're fired and building the wall with his kids. That is so damning. Like, it is so good. That's all I would run. I would literally just, I would put a frame around it if I were the Trump campaign, and I would just run those commercials everywhere and let DeSantis try to respond to them. What is his, again, we haven't heard from DeSantis, and sorry, I cut you off again.
You're fine.
We haven't heard from DeSantis why him and not Trump.
You're right.
We have just not heard that.
Because he doesn't want to touch it.
But that's the question.
Yeah.
Why are you here instead of still supporting Trump? I need to hear that from him. That is, and all of his surrogates, right? They're like, oh, Trump is mouthy, blah, 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 blah. We've heard that from Democrats for years. All right. Trump is bad because he tweets a lot, mean tweets, blah, blah, blah. That's not good enough anymore.
Yeah.
I want to hear why Governor DeSantis, who at one point had a commercial reading Make America Great Again to his kids and building a wall and reading a book, reading Art of the Deal, right, to his kids, saying, and then he said, you're fired. Goofy, fun commercials.
Great commercial.
Yes. Why he thanked Trump for getting there. I want to know, and this is the question that he has not answered, why him and not Trump? And that, again, I'm not saying he's a bad candidate. I'm not saying I'm 100% behind Trump. But I want to hear exactly why. I think Americans deserve to hear why. Because all we're hearing is, again, simping on both sides, yelling. Obviously, Trump has the track record as president. I think he was, the last election, he should have had another 4 years. We all know that. I'm being very cautious of how I say that. And he, I think, scares the bejesus out of our enemies, and I'm for that.
Mm-hmm. I don't think DeSantis will ever answer that. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to be doing a lot of the tactics that we saw from more of like the Democrats who are up against Republicans, is kind of just sit it out, try to lead by example. Not to say that Democrats did that, but from his perspective, I don't know if he'll ever directly go
but he
after
needs to
Trump.
I want someone to ask any good journalist, any journalist worth their weight in gold, anybody, ask the guy, why you and not him?
Right.
Straight up. And don't allow a political response. I want to hear it because I think it just comes down to ego.
It does. Absolutely.
Why do you think you're better than the guy that got you your job?
Here's the answer. Because people with money told him he was. And he took that opportunity.
He will never say that, but I want to hear what comes out of his mouth.
I'll say it.
But I want to hear what comes out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Look, I'm not saying I'm pro-Trump or pro-DeSantis. I like both guys.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is this. Why is DeSantis running against Trump? What makes him think he is a better presidential candidate than Donald Trump? I want to hear that answer
from him.
Will we hear that answer from him ever?
Probably not.
Maybe in a debate moderator will say, what makes you different? And I swear if I hear mean tweets or he, something superficial like that, I'm done. I don't want to hear it anymore.
I think that the strategy that he's been using has been allow for Trump to react to him in the manner that he would be pointing out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad strategy. But I do think that he's going to have to be prepared for those questions because right now it's been on his terms. He's been doing the shadow campaign and everything, but he has not actually entered the field up until this point. And so now it goes from him being in control to him having to answer those hard questions, for him having to go up against other candidates, including Trump.
Yeah.
And which is why I hope Trump does debate him, because it makes it seem like Trump does not want to debate him, which anybody with a brain would know Trump would dominate that. That is where Trump is the best.
That's all I want out of this. All right. I will vote for whoever wins this primary because I don't want a Democrat in office, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whichever one wins.
Mm-hmm.
I want my debate. I want my debate night. I want to be able to live tweet it. I want to be able to throw a party live. I want to throw a live party. I want to get real drunk and say a lot of, and I want to say a lot of nasty shit watching this. I want to sit around. I want to do a live stream. I would rent that theater again and throw a party in that theater. They better get better cameras and give it to me for way less money. But I would rent that theater again and do a live event. And I just saw something else pop up. I would rent that theater and do a live event and live watch it and just swear the entire time. I think that would be a fun time.
Well, I hope it happens for you. Hope you get to live your dreams.
I think we will.
Yeah,
I think we're going to get it. And I think it's going to be a great time.
When he said that, I hope that it's similar to his reaction now going back on the pro-life statement, because obviously that was not a smart idea.
You know, it's really interesting, by the way. Somebody just said, it's me, Larry B. Says Biden's considering banning chocolate milk for children. I mean, what's he want it all for himself? Like that guy, like, do you think he eats chocolate pudding at night? I mean, like this guy, come on, it's ridiculous.
Well, I was going to say a little bit earlier to kind of change the topic, and I touched on this for a short moment when we were reacting to the Twitter Spaces and how it actually unfolded. But my biggest concern from the Twitter Spaces is not that the app crashed, or not that truth's better than Twitter, or that it's embarrassing or whatever. That's not my takeaway. My takeaway is, why were you not prepared for that to happen? Why wasn't your team locked and loaded? Because I would say that Trump's biggest weakness is not his personality. It is the people he has around him. And when DeSantis comes unprepared for a situation like that, that if you have record listenership or viewership that you are anticipating, you should think that that is probably inevitable.
Yeah.
You need to be prepared for that. You need to be prepared for the things that are not inevitable, let alone the things that are.
Yep.
And so that does not make me trust his team's preparation and ability and his communications at all.
Well,
and that's, I think, Trump's biggest weakness, that DeSantis has not filled the gap.
Well, there we go. You make a good point. So here's the deal, Al. I think we're going to end on a high note here, because I've really enjoyed this.
Well,
and it's been an hour 10, and I've really enjoyed you guys. This is a good one. If you guys didn't watch from the beginning, again, please like, share, and subscribe. But if you haven't watched from the beginning, please go back and watch it, because I think we really covered a lot here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a really good, really energetic. Last night I was bored as shit.
We're going to go for a few more minutes.
Why?
I'm going to force you to, because we have good viewership on Rumble.
Okay, then we'll keep going.
Every view counts, because that's the determining factor between if I say we're going longer and if I allow Tim to cut off, even though he did 3 hours of radio.
It's me, Larry B. Thanks for being a first-time watcher, by the way. Thank you. I'm going to put that in there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please share it with your friends too. I mean, we want to build up our Rumble account. We want to do like lots of stuff here, and Dagna's very excited that we're still going, by the way. Why am I on a diet? Let me tell you something. So here's my issue. I'm not on caffeine, and I've been up since 6 a.m. because I hosted radio this morning, and I'm not drinking either. So it's a good time. Anyway, all right. Well, you then, since you want to continue it, but the next topic's on you.
Well, I think that I want to hear from the viewers. The first timers, I want to hear from everyone.
Yeah.
I want us to, we've been sharing stuff, and this is how, if you're here for the first time, how we always run the stream is, it's not just,
hey, hold on. Before we get into this, somebody says you never reply to me on Twitter. Let me tell you something. I try to tweet while I'm sitting here. My Twitter crashes on my fucking telephone.
yeah, he can't, don't say that for we're on YouTube now.
Okay. But I literally have tweeted 50% less on Twitter this month, because my Twitter crashes on my phone constantly, and I have a very nice cell phone. And so I don't understand what's happening. I have to have my computer on me to be able to tweet, and it's annoying, and I don't know if it's intentional or what.
If you ever see a tweet from Tim this month, it's usually him literally being like, oh, why would this work? And then sprinting up the stairs, grabbing his laptop, coming back downstairs and tweeting.
It's annoying.
It takes a lot. I don't understand, to be honest, why
that's happening.
Why it's happening.
I mean, it literally doesn't make any sense. But I try to. I mean, again, just everything is garbage. All right, Al, go ahead. Let's do it. You take over.
Well, I was just going to say, this is how the stream usually goes, is, it's a conversation between Tim and I, and also including all of the viewers. And, we never want to just talk at you. Like, we want it to be a discussion. So if you're here for the first time, that's how we run the show. And it's always a fun time. And even when the days are slow, we try to make it fun.
But
and
they're
just
not always slow,
I said when, not
yeah. Sure, gotcha.
the days are always slow. No, just when the news. I mean, it's no secret that some days in the news are more interesting than others. I would say this has given us a lot to talk about as far as this one topic goes. But it's going to be really interesting analyzing how both of these people react, especially since I think that we're going to see a lot more. Actually, I don't know. I'm going to take that statement back because with anticipating DeSantis's announcement, I was expecting right off the bat for him to be going a little bit harder. And today, it didn't feel any different from like the days of the shadow campaign, which is disappointing because you need to enter strong if you're entering, especially obviously
he should have had an event. What's so hard about the event?
Especially after going after Trump for leaving Iowa. Look, here's the thing. He goes to Iowa, Trump leaves Iowa. Then the DeSantis comms team is all, and influencers are all like, well, you know, obviously it wasn't the weather because DeSantis was there. You cannot have your only strategy in a campaign, especially against somebody like Trump, just to follow Trump's and sometimes fill in the gaps of what he does. You are not going to successfully set yourself aside. If you want to be the non-Trump candidate, you have to do things that are not just in response to things that Trump has or has not done. And I think that's the situation that we're in and why it would have been smart for DeSantis to wait to run. Yeah. Again, I like both guys, but I think that if that's their strategy, if their strategy is just to not be Trump, then congratulations. You are still in the Trump camp in the sense that you cannot separate yourself from it. You are operating purely off of opposition.
Yeah.
And it's lazy. It's lazy politics. Do something.
Yes.
Say something new.
Look, I mean, when I'm doing a thing, by the way, here.
Vivek's been better at that than DeSantis has.
He has very much so been. But when I see, actually, I'm going to change a thing here. Sorry, talk for a second. This is my problem.
But Vivek's been very clear on what his policies are going to be.
And also, he stood up for Trump. He was the first one when Trump was, when the garbage stuff happened. When they moved forward with the election. Yeah, with the elections. Oh my God, with the arrests.
Yes.
Not the arrests, but the arraignment and stuff like that, and the charges. It's just, no. He was the first one out there. He understands that things are bigger than him as a candidate.
Mm-hmm. And his place. If you're running against somebody like Trump, you have to be self-aware.
Yes.
And I think that he may be able to get a lot of the votes that would have gone to DeSantis. I don't think that that's going to be, something that probably comes to fruition, at least in this election cycle. But that could be really bad for DeSantis. If you have people that, are gaining like a cult following because they're actually talking about policies, they're actually being very clear and they're actually presenting new ideas. I know that he got in a lot of trouble amongst people for suggesting that people wait to vote till 25 or to pass the same civics test as immigrants. But it's still new policy. It's still something that forces us to have conversations about real issues and actually presents a solution. And in presenting a solution, even if it's not the right solution, it then makes somebody have to say, okay, I don't agree with that. And here's why. And here's another solution. And I think that's the downside that's being lost here. In how the primary has been going this far is it's a lot of people that are really set on who they want and they don't see it as, okay, having a vigorous primary is a good thing. Like having debate and discourse is a good thing. Having not just handing over something to somebody, especially as much power as the presidency, is a good thing. Obviously, Trump's in a little bit of a different boat because he has worked, he has given back to the American people, not just in one state, but as president. He has delivered on promises. He has done great things for the country. Life was great under Trump. He even changed people's minds throughout his presidency because he was doing so much for them and because you just knew that the quality of life was going up. So I think Trump has done a lot already to earn his spot back. I think that he does deserve that, but having a rigorous primary is a good thing for the American people.
Yeah. No.
If we win.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll
If we
see where
win.
it goes. I mean, yeah, we'll see what the general looks like. I mean, you're right, Al. Like, I'm just like, sorry, I'm tired.
fine.
That's my whole thing is that I'm exhausted from the day. So,
No, we'll get off soon. We'll do final thoughts. Final thoughts.
final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
I mean, if the election was held today, who would you vote for? You don't want to say. I'd vote for Trump.
I probably would Trump.
I would vote
It's
for
hard.
Trump. I'd vote for Trump.
I worry about Trump in the general.
Yeah, I do too.
That's
But I
that's
would,
the only thing that doesn't have me to be an instant Trump. But I don't think we know enough about DeSantis to know if he would be good in the general.
Also, I just kind of feel like it was so crappy that DeSantis had the big preview that he walks out on a stage and
not have an event
and not have a stage. There's this big build, the big build where he's like, "It's time for America," and they like walk out from behind a big American flag, and then essentially this is what happens. Just hello.
The best part
Hello?
was when they whispered and said. So after
It's
it was
quiet now.
It's
Didn't he say-
quiet now.
Quiet
That was
now.
like the only thing we heard from DeSantis.
Hello.
It's quiet
Like, hold on, let
now.
me see if I can find that. I'll do this. I'll do a live of
He
the
was
where's
like,
the Casey DeSantis? Because I was like, again, the Casey DeSantis commercial. I mean, it was a huge build. It's Casey DeSantis.
Well, he posted the
No, he's
The
got
one
no,
today.
the big one from yesterday. Here we
right,
go. Ready?
but it's the same video. They just
Yeah,
used
well,
twice.
that's all right. Listen, we're gonna use hers because she was the first mover. Okay. So we're gonna do the live. Where's my StreamYard at? All right, share screen. So this is essentially what happened today. Ready? Got it up?
They call it faith because in the face of darkness, you can see that brighter future. A faith that our best days lay ahead of us. But is it worth the fight? Do I have the courage? Is it worth the sacrifice? America has been worth it every single time.
Hello?
Hol-
Hello? Hello? Is this all? Hello? No? I lost my connection. Hello? That's what it went from. It went from him, a big dramatic, dun, 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 take 10 steps. All right, now turn to the right. All right, turn like you're getting ready to walk out on stage. All right. Okay, now walk out on stage. Hello? Is this on? That's what it
also,
turned out to be.
I didn't realize this until we just watched it back.
All right, sorry.
That hurts my ears.
Yeah, all right. It hurt mine. Thank God we didn't have headphones in.
No,
All right,
but
go
now
ahead.
we do.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until hearing that back again after hearing DeSantis his one today, because again, the same video, just Ron's voice instead of who's that speech from?
Don't ask me.
Sometimes you put me on the spot of knowing certain
Don't fucking
things.
ask me who they quoted in the.
But
Ron
anyway,
DeSantis
whoever
video.
it was, Ron's voiceover was significantly less empowering than that. They should have stuck with somebody else speaking. He fell flat. So when you literally have like a direct comparison, like you are hyping up the hype
Hello?
teaser should not be better than the actual announcement video. You are setting a standard. You need to not only meet that standard, but then excel.
Unless it's supposed to be funny.
It was lackluster. I'm not talking about the failed Twitter space. I'm talking about his actual video. It was the same thing, just worse.
No, I think everything was just a big flop, and it allowed the Trump campaign to stomp, and appropriately so.
But again, they should have had it prepared for them to release the statements, framing it as, this was such a huge thing that it crashed Twitter. I mean, it wasn't just that the space was embarrassing, because there were a lot of things that they were having. I mean, not knowing that you need a mute when you're in the same room as somebody else in the same space, like that was a little bit embarrassing.
I need a president that knows how to use Twitter. Forget mean tweets. Just start at the base level of knows how to use Twitter.
Don't worry, there won't be any mean tweets because we don't know how to use Twitter.
Could you imagine, by the way, what it was like sitting in the room with DeSantis trying to get the phone to work during that Twitter space?
he should have been live tweeting.
But could you imagine?
They didn't do anything.
Alex,
It was like the biggest dropped ball, because I don't think Twitter crashing should have been a bad thing for them, but it was, because they didn't do anything about it.
Yeah. He could have had a video ready to go. They could have had a StreamYard ready to go and did a live video. Again, if this all would have been avoided if they simulcast and he had even if it was like a gym, or like he could fill a massive area, I'd imagine. If they would have had a live rally for him to be chilling in. And then, I mean, okay, so the Twitter Spaces isn't working, but here we are with thousands of people. I'm going to keep talking to you with Elon until we get this figured out.
Correct.
Not hard to do.
Literally, they could have had a pre-prepared video to go up. He could have just been writing. That would have made him seem more personable if he was just tweeting.
Yeah.
If he just tweeted.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm going to respond to questions, reply to my tweets, and quote tweeted people.
Mm-hmm.
He could have done that. He could have done anything other than what they did, because they did nothing.
Everybody in the chat on Rumble is talking about Chicago. Why are we talking about Chicago? By the
Where
way,
did that come from?
I went on the Jussie Smollett tour because I once got to stay. So I had a layover that kind of screwed up in Chicago, and I got to stay at the W Hotel. Like it was like $50 a night or something, because nobody stays in downtown Chicago most of the time. So you can get a really bougie hotel for like $50. Mm-hmm. So I stayed at the W Hotel, and I did the Jussie Smollett tour because I walk in and like it's really nice. Like everybody there is really nice. And I go, is this where the Jussie Smollett stuff happened? It looks familiar. And he goes, dude, it's around the corner. The subway, the 24-hour subway is around the corner. It was all, and that guy had lots of words about how bad it made Chicago look. And so I did the Jussie Smollett tour, and I went and got a tuna salad sub. And then I walked around the corner to where he was. It's literally, it was so crazy. It was such a nice area where it was. But Chicago, I would never go back there. You're sorry if you've never been to Chicago, Al. I don't think we're ever going to go.
No, I have not been. I don't really have an interest in it.
So, but yeah, it says right there, the W is insanely cheap. Dude, it really was like when you go to stay at a nice hotel in Chicago now, like I wouldn't spend more than $70.
Right.
You get 4-star hotels there for like nothing, because no one wants to be there. Because the criminals are smart there, and they know if you're not getting hit by a gang, you're going to get robbed because it's in the good part of town, and everybody there's a liberal, so they're not going to call the police on you. You're not going to get arrested for robbing somebody, and and they know where the money is.
This is important. This is why it's important to talk in the chat, because you can completely change our topic of conversation.
Yeah.
You influence us.
Yeah.
But no, I think that was like probably the best thing that Fox Nation has done, is when they interviewed the two guys, and they're just going through like, yeah. And then Jussie was like, make it look like they were describing the way that he had told them to hit him, and they're just like laughing about it. Like, yeah, we did that. That's normal. It took me a while. Like when we saw it, we had to do the research on is this real or is this satire? Because it was better than like an SNL sketch as far as like the timing and comedic value went.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. All right, I'm writing my notes for tomorrow if I have to fill in.
Yeah, so Tim may be on Sirius XM again tomorrow,
depending on the connection from
we're gonna
an aircraft carrier.
Another day of being very tired.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have a lot to do. Also, you guys should check out my latest article, and we can cover this tomorrow, actually, about the new Indiana Jones movie and why you shouldn't go see it.
We should cover it.
So we'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
I think that'd be pretty good. All right, let's get out of here, Alex. I'm actually tired. You got 20 extra minutes out of me.
Okay.
So.
It was good, though.
Yeah.
It was good. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for always being active in the chat. It's always a fun time. If you have not followed on Rumble and or YouTube, please follow us both places. Even if you have a preference about where you watch, it still helps us reach a larger audience on there. So we appreciate it. Make sure that you follow Tim. Tim runs his mouth all over social media. I'm Alex Spencer USA, and we will see you tomorrow.
And
same
Larry,
time.
Listen, commentator, I'll be back tomorrow to ruin your show. You didn't ruin the show. You added stuff to it, so it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. So, all right.
Everyone was great. Yeah. What a crowd.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Nice
like,
time.
share, subscribe. And yeah, we'll have fun. And again, like, share, and subscribe. That's what I'm just going to keep saying. And go follow Alex on Alex Spencer USA if you haven't done that.
Just tune in tomorrow. That's more important to me.
Okay. All right. Well, tune in tomorrow. We'll see you guys soon. All right. Bye.